Hello my Wolfpack and welcome to a video where I am going to look a little bit more in depth at the first gameplay trailer of the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet games that was shown on the 3rd of August. Now, this is the bit that was shown before they kind of did the breakdown. I'm just going to go through this one and then I think I'll have a look at the breakdown and see if there's anything in there I noticed that's really intriguing that I can add to. But there are a few points that I've noticed in here that I do want to talk about, and I'll pause it quite frequently to discuss any of my thoughts or any ideas that I'm having or anything that I've kind of clarified through my own little research. So, first of all, we obviously get this doesn't reflect in the official. Now, first, immediately, we've got normal Growlithe and normal Arcanine, so that means no new form for Growlithe and Arcanine, which, to be fair, is to be expected because they did just get a Hisuian form. Although I admit I would love to have a new Arcanine. We've then got Dealing and Swordsbuck, and what I have seen, and I don't know if these were taken from different parts of the year, but that you have got access to all of the different Dealings and Swordsbucks. I'm assuming that potentially they're available in different areas. So for example, in the ice area, you'll get the ice variant, the winter variant. In like this area, you've got the fall variant, is it, or spring? I don't know which is which, to be honest, because I don't really care much about Swordsbuck. But yeah, you've got Dealing and Swordsbuck here, and I have seen later on in the trailer you have got access to the summer form. So I'm assuming that all 4 forms are going to be accessible, whether the environment changes through the year, through spring, summer, fall, autumn, winter, not fall. I'm from the UK. But yeah, whether that changes, who knows? We'll see kind of as we get more information. We've then got Houndour and Houndoom. No new form for these, unfortunately. I would really love to have seen a new form here. You know, I think that Houndoom would be a fantastic side form of whatever typing. Maybe even like a fairy typing, like a fire fairy would be really intriguing. Have we got a fire fairy? I feel like we have, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'm sure we have a fire fairy, but maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, we'll keep on with the trailer. Keep on with the trailer. Oh, also, in the background, we've got this giant tower, and this giant tower is screaming to me, and I don't know what it's screaming to me, but it is screaming lore. It is screaming some kind of importance to do with something. Yeah, that's all I can say right this second. But I'll have a look at it later on, and then we'll discuss it further. Here we have our first show of Powder and Wooper. Now, if you want to go check out my predictive competitive analysis on the new Pokemon that have been revealed in these trailers, then please feel free to do so. I would really love the extra support on the channel. Obviously, I'd appreciate that. Obviously, if you want to comment down below any questions that you have or anything that you see that is really interesting, then please do. Now, here we've actually got 3 different biomes in the screen. So we've got the standard kind of the green kind of foresty biome. To the right, we have got kind of this like dusty red sort of biome, which is suggesting to me potentially like more of a desert biome. And here we have got a marsh biome, and that's where we have got the Wooper. And the Wooper, there is kind of this lore aspect by the looks of it with the Wooper, that they were outcompeted and that they ended up moving on land, and they moved to this marsh area and covered themselves in this kind of poisonous film, essentially. So they changed their typing over time. So potentially we could see some kind of water Pokemon that has a relationship with the Woopers, and you know, that would be really interesting. But yeah, these are poison and ground types. Looking fantastic, really cool typing. Not sure if it's a typing that we've had before, but really, really loving the look of it. We've then got Snowrunts. Typical, we've got this kind of icy area. Now we know there's ice because of the trailer anyways, but yeah, we've got Snowrunt here, which means we've got Frostlass and Glalie returning as well. We've got 2 Gyarados here. We've got obviously this water aspect, and we do see later on that we can go on the water using the cycle. So the cycles are essentially replacing the ride Pokemon, or was there any ride aspect? There wasn't really any ride aspect in Sword and Shield, but you've got basically the the cycles do all of the HMs, is what I'm trying to say. We've then got Honchkrow and Murkrow. Now, I will say there have been a few leaks that have been suggested, and one was suggesting that Murkrow had a different form. There was also one suggesting that Girafarig had a different form, and that those are both in this trailer in their normal forms. So I would say any leaks that have come out do take with a pinch of salt, because they don't seem to be adding up with what we're getting from the trailers. Just wanted to quickly mention that, because I know these were the two Pokemon that I noticed that were on the leak list, but for having different forms. Whether they do have different forms, they might end up having different forms from some different gimmick, but this is what I'm looking at the minute. So you've got Murkrow and Honchkrow there, and we're back into the main city here. This looks like where it's the Academy. You can see that this one's actually from the Scarlet games, because you can see on those front gates you've got the orange aspects to them. Now, this is looking like it's going to be the Academy that you're first going to attend at the very beginning, and actually looking at this, you've got a really interesting area. So on the left, you've got this treehouse, which obviously is going to be, and this actually confirms something that I was talking about in my character analysis video. So you have got both professors working at this academy. One professor, the female professor, I can't remember her name. I honestly cannot remember her name. The female professor is obviously working in that left room where it's more of a treehouse style, and I would say that the right one is going to be Professor Churro, the one that's working in the more futuristic aspect. So it looks like both games are going to get both of those professors, and it looks like you're probably just going to get one of the legendaries, whichever one is based on your front. And I think that's really interesting. That's something I'm going to talk about when we look at the legendaries. But it looks like the professors are accessible in both of the games. And I'm assuming that what is his name? The Clee something. Clevel or something. Something like his name, the guy that's going to talk in a second. I'm assuming he lives in the Pokeball. So this guy.
Today we begin.
Actually, let's just go back a second. Let's have a look at all these. Let's look at all these people, see if there's anyone of importance here. Now, they all are dressed very, very similarly. There seems to be a variety. This one seems to obviously be the Scarlet, because you've got him wearing the purple uniform and everyone else wearing the purple uniform. And there is the difference between the two there. You've just obviously seen the Miraidon and Curodon, I think is what they're called. And there is this treasure hunt.
The treasure hunt.
Now, the treasure hunt is really interesting to me. This seems to be the secondary. There are 3 stories in the game. So there are 3 parts to this game, which I think is fantastic for Pokemon. One is you've got the standard gym challenge aspect. 2, it seems that you've got this treasure hunt. And I'm assuming that this treasure hunt is going to build to something to do with the legendaries and something to do with another side story. I'm assuming that the gym story and the champion story is just going to be a generic standard story. That's what I'm assuming. It's just there's not going to be anything else involved in there. You might have some barriers come up, but it seems like there is going to be... The treasure hunt is going to have the main kind of lore aspect. That's what I'm anticipating. There could obviously be lore aspect in the gym trainers as well, but this looks it. And I imagine the majority of people will do all 3 quests kind of together. There'll be very few people that will do them completely separately. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you can't even do them completely separately. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think this is really interesting. This gimmick... Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. It's really weird that immediately you get access... Or no, I'm assuming very early on, you get access to the legendary Pokemon. This, in my eyes, just seems a little bit weird. because obviously the legendary Pokemon, they are something that you typically will see very late into the game, and they'll be entwined with the evil team. Now, obviously, in Sword and Shield, you saw the legendary Pokemon very early, but then you didn't see, you kind of saw the story around it, and then later on. And maybe that's what the treasure hunt's doing. Maybe we're looking for certain things to do with the story of these Pokemon, or the story of how they've been potentially displaced out of time, because it does seem to be this time aspect to them. Now, obviously, with Scarlet and Violet, there is definitely going to be whichever legendary is on the box. But the fact that they turn into motorcycles, I just think is really, really interesting. And the next bit as well, I couldn't stop laughing when I reacted to it. So here, as I said, you've got Giraffe Rig. Giraffe Rig not seeming to have any kind of specialness there. In the background, you have got a couple of towers over there. I reckon those are the wind turbines that were in a previous thing. You've also got something that looks like it's smoking down by the mountain. So potentially there could be like a geothermal plant. This could all be to do with clean energy, for example. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a narrative in the game, because realistically that's something that the world needs to be looking at. So, you know, it could be in reference to that. Get to know the region. So yeah, there's the Sawsbuck of the different form. Again, this looks like it's just after the marsh, because you can see to the left there is that deserty area as well. It also looks like behind that tree there could be some kind of big structure, but it could also not be a big structure. It could be a cloud. But yeah, there's lots of like exploring that I think we're going to get to do in this region. It looks like it is going to be very open world. In fact, it is going to be very open world. I've confirmed that. So you can kind of access basically most areas very easily, very early on. Whether you have to wait until you've done certain quests to be able to get the ability to, for example, go on water or climb walls, that's yet to be seen. But the way it's advertised, it seems like it wouldn't need it. But it's just really interesting, especially when you look at Koraidon and how it moves. The fact that you've just seen it move, it's running, but it has two giant wheels. I'm assuming those wheels are mostly used for the buoyancy on water. That's what I'm assuming is going to be the aspect for it. But yeah, no, I just thought that was really funny. And I know a lot of other people have seen that's been really funny. You've got Mareep and Flaffy there, so obviously that means that it's likely that Ampharos will be there. Also in the background on the left behind those flowers, it looks potentially like it's those towers again. So whether there's one of these or whether it's all across the region, who knows? But this could be an interesting thing, and I think that's going to be linked into the story of the treasure hunting. I think that's going to be an aspect there. You can jump and you can climb and you can fly. You can fly. The fact that I don't understand, like why couldn't they just create a motor? In fact, actually, no, that wouldn't be the case. I was going to say, these could just be representations of the legendary, and that you could catch a legendary at the end of the treasure hunt, and these are just mechanical. But actually, no. The way that they're moving, the way that they're kind of responding and stuff, it definitely suggests that they're living things. But yeah, you can fly around the Pokemon worlds. You've got this giant waterfall, which I'm really, really excited to see. From kind of a different perspective. You've got, again, down in the bottom left corner, down in the very bottom left corner where the play button is, again, you've got these towers. So what these towers are doing, I don't really know. But you've got one there, and that I don't know if it links up with the perspective of the other one. That's quite difficult to say. But you've got the ability to fly around, whether there's going to be Pokemon flying around, similar to in Oras when you was flying around the map. But I think this is definitely going to be a very fast way of travelling, and it's going to be really interesting to go for. Here you've got more views of different things. You've got a gigantic lake here as well. I think that was in a previous trailer. You've got kind of this desert area with this mountainous area in the middle. In fact, it's more of a kind of Saharan. That's a desert. Savanna. More of a savanna, I'm thinking it looks like. So access to lots and lots of different Pokemon biomes here, which it seems really interesting that it's all broken up quite succinctly into this. And I will get the Paldean map up after this.
The abundant nature.
But yeah, you've got all of this kind of nature going on here. Here you've got Go-Goat and Skidoos, which are really interesting. One thing that I thought was also really interesting here is that you have two Pokemon stops here. You have one just to the right a little bit, one that's straight ahead of you, and they look relatively close together, so that suggests to me that maybe there is a little bit of kind of maneuvering that might have to happen here. But there's not too much more to talk about with regards to this shot. It's just showing you a couple more Pokemon and a couple of the stops there. Traveling on water, as you can see, you're traveling on water there. Whether, as I said, that requires you to be able to actually gain certain badges for it. Who knows? But they said open world, so we might not. There's also some kind of ledge sort of aspect here, so maybe there's going to be some interesting things up there. It looks like we're now riding on that ledge. You're again in this marshy area. This is exactly where the Whoopers were beforehand. You can just see it's just slightly different angled. You've got Dreadnoughts here as well, so seeing Pokemon from all generations, which is really cool. You've got Cufants here, which are really cool. This is looking a very deserty, kind of barren land. You've got kind of some fencing over there. You've got this waterfall here, which I'm not sure if that's the same waterfall or if it's a different waterfall. If it's the same waterfall, then it looks like there are going to be time of the year mechanics, but I don't really expect that, because that would mean a lot of people would have to wait for things and change time, and I reckon it's a different area. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's a different area. You've got Cufant there, which means Copperaja's back, which, you know, would be pretty cool, because it's quite a cool Pokemon. These are the Pokestops in a little bit more detail. So it looks like you have the ability to buy some food here. It looks like, obviously, you can heal yourself. There's the Wi-Fi aspect here as well. So I'm assuming there's going to be the ability to trade and battle and all that jazz. You've then got the kind of group aspects, which they spoke about in the second video in a little bit more detail, where you can multiplayer with 3 other people, which is actually really cool. And whether that means that you can build up each other's Pokedexes or whatnot or something, like, I don't really know. But yeah, it's kind of a cool aspect, and I think racing is probably going to be a big thing for a lot of people, racing around, seeing who can get a shiny first, seeing who can do a lap the fastest, all that kind of jazz.
The rich culture.
So yeah, you've got the 2 different insignias here. You've got Scarlet, for some reason, to do with grapes. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but there seems to be a lot of food. Food involved in this generation. I don't know why. But you've got the orange and the grape. Whether they're going to be something special, maybe for another different gimmick that's being potentially suggested, I don't know. But you've got this massive library, which I thought was a really cool shot. Whether you're going to have to do much in here, I'm not sure. I doubt it realistically, but maybe there's going to be a lot of trainer tips here and stuff like that. You've got being taught, so I'm assuming this is your standard trainer school part. A Sunflora pot, which doesn't look like a real Sunflora, but hey-ho. You've got a couple of nice houses there as well. A little bit of like a... well, it's got a Meowth on it, and maybe this could be like an expensive district sort of thing. It looks like maybe you've got a boutique, you've got a restaurant. I imagine you've got a hair salon down here as well. It looks like there's several different things in here that you can go into. Looks like this is kind of a main city sort of aspect. Again, another picture of the academy. So we've seen Fido, looks really cool. Used for baking, and it looks like this is a bakery or something. If you look to the side, it looks like they've got something that has some bread in the back, or some kind of baked good, and then you've got like drinks in the front. But yeah, I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of these kind of floating around in different places. Maybe there's going to be a bakery that's kind of like found in each sort of town, something like that. I think this is the first time we've ever seen slacking in the overworld, which, except for Pokemon Snap. But yeah, this is really interesting. I think this is that Savannah area I was talking about, where there's kind of that rock formation in between it. but you've got kind of the Pokemon interacting. I would love to see Pokemon interacting in the game. I think that would be really cool, but that mechanic is very difficult to implement, so I don't expect it by any means. Cacnea and Cacturn are there, which, you know, kind of cool. Donphan, friggin' love Donphan. I don't think it's back in Gen... No, I think it's in BDSP, but I don't think it's in Sword and Shield. Now, Donphan, I think, is going to be one of the best Pokemon to Terrestrialize, if that's how you say it. Crystal form. I think that Donphan is going to be one of the best Pokemon because he has such a diverse moveset. It uses so many different moves, and it could become basically any different type because of the access that it gets. So I think that's going to be a fantastic mon to gain these crystal forms. You got Dragonair here in this, what looks like the lake area. So obviously Dragonite's back. Pineco and Fletchling there. Looks like Pineco is actually in the tree, so maybe you have kind of to knock things out of the tree. You see another one there actually behind it. So yeah, maybe we're gonna have to knock trees and to get things down. Mismagius and Mischievous. I love Mismagius, one of my favourite ghost type Pokemon. I think that's also going to be a really good Pokemon to Crystal form. I can't think how it's said. But I think that's going to be another cool Pokemon, especially if it's electric type, because, you know, Levitate electric. Absolutely fantastic. Beartick and Cubchoo, you've got loads of Pikachus here as well. Your standard shot for the mascot. The people, yeah, we get to see some people here. We've got Pachirisu showing here as well. You've got a Pincurchin randomly in this sub shop. Whether you're going to be able to buy all this food, I have no idea, or make this food. It looks like the character's at the till, so maybe, you know, they could buy a sandwich for their Pokemon. This person screams Umbreon to me. This person really does scream Umbreon. It does look like potentially she's got a scar on her head that I've just noticed, like an X scar on, between her hair, but that could just be how her hair is set. But to me, she screams Umbreon. Like the coloration, the black and the yellow, that screams Umbreon. It screams potentially Dark type to me. You know, that makes so much sense, personally. I think she is going to be the Dark type gym leader. Yeah, we've got this guy who is an absolute beast, and he looks like he's part of the academy by the way that he stood in front of here, but also could be a gym leader. And if he was a gym leader, I definitely could see him being a fairy type gym leader. I don't know why, but I just think that it would be really interesting to have a fairy type gym leader. I love his hair. Looks really, really cool. You've got this woman who I think is going to be the closest we're going to get to the idea of like flamenco. But to me, she's kind of screaming ground type. Ground type user. I think that works the best. Nice orange nails. Attention to the actual nails on there. I don't think we've actually seen nails on a gym leader before, on anyone before in Pokemon here. But you can also see in the background there, I think just to very much to the right, you can see that there is this structure, and I think that is one of those wind turbines, so she could be to do with flying types. So yeah, there could be to do with those different aspects. Standard black belt there. I don't think he's going to be anyone in particular, but he could be fighting type. This person I found really interesting. Could be a poison type trainer. It could potentially be a gym leader. It could be someone part of the bad team. Who knows? But yeah, I found this person to be a person of interest. And then you had another guy there who just was like your punk rocker. I don't think, again, he's going to have anything to do.
Where will you go?
So yeah, you've got different areas, and I want to talk about this area as well, because if you look, it looks like it's blocked off. Now, obviously, it's open world. It's open world, but whether you can only get through certain points after you've fulfilled certain checks. So from the looks of it, on the website, I've seen that there is an aspect, and I didn't mention this in the previous video, I actually said the opposite in the previous video, but there seems to be no kind of variations on the gym leaders. So there seems to be the fact that gym leaders are all going to be how they would normally be, like at different strength levels, and you can just battle them at different times. So kind of like how in Gen 1 in Fire Red and Leaf Green, you can completely miss out Lieutenant Surge and the game is unaffected, but you have to go back to Lieutenant Surge to be able to defeat the Elite Four. Same with Gym 6 in Gen 3. So I think that's kind of how this is sort of working, but all of them are missable because you've got access to everything you need straight off. But I'm assuming that this is some kind of check to make sure that you're strong enough, you're not venturing into an area. But this also looks like it's going to be the big bad team putting up a barrier. Maybe not the big bad team. I think there's going to be a secondary, kind of like how there was in Sword and Shield, how you had Team Yell, and then you had Rose's, whoever's. I can't actually remember what they were called. But yeah, you've got that, and I feel like these guys are going to be putting blockades up, and it's going to be restricting your access, or maybe you're going to have to go around them, or battle certain people to be able to take them on. You'll see kind of their vehicle soon after this. And there's these towers. These towers seem to be really, really interesting. And I feel like gut instinct tells me it's not just one. Gut instinct tells me there's going to be loads of these towers over the place, and this is going to be something to do with the treasure quest. Yeah, so you've got these towers. I'm assuming you have to climb up to the top, and there's going to be something at the top there that's going to be important for any quests. We're flying over a quarry here. The one thing that I did notice, if you look to the left, you'll see that there is some kind of yellow truck. And this is something that's really weird in Pokemon because it's very rare that we actually see vehicles. So very rare that we see vehicles. I think the last time that we actually saw any vehicles, and you might have to correct me if I'm wrong here, was Gen 5. They had a massive highway in which there were vehicles. No, sorry, Gen 6 they had taxis, didn't they? Gen 6 had taxis. I don't think Gen 7 had any vehicles. It could well have done. It might have had some lorries here and there. Gen 8, I don't recall there being any vehicles. So, yeah. You've got a vehicle there. Seems to stick out to me like a sore thumb there. But this looks like a quarry area. Definitely looks like it's going to be the place where there's lots of caves, where you're going to explore and try and find lots and lots of different Pokemon that are going to be ground and rock type, mostly. So, I think her name's Nemia or something. You've got her that you can battle. She's going to be your main rival. You've got the two scientists. You've got Penny there, and I've already spoken about Penny in my character analysis video, so if you want to go and check that out, feel free to do so. And then you have got Arvin, I think is his name. Now, Arvin, in my character analysis video, I actually predicted that potentially you was only getting one of him and Nemia. But actually, having a look at it in a second, it will show you some more detail. It looks like they are just going to change their uniforms based on which type they're in, or which game they're in. So you've got this gym trainer who is a he. I definitely thought they were a female, but they are a male, and they have Satitan. And Satitan, again, I've done some analysis of in my previous video, where I've done my kind of predicted competitive analysis for them. And then you've got other people kind of around here. It looks like you're using a Talonflame here, so potentially this is later on into the game. So you are using a Talonflame. And then you've got this vehicle, which obviously if you looked at the barricade, you would have saw lots of flames all over it. Looks like some kind of like hot rod aspect here. You've got this kind of star, so it could be like Team Star, who knows. And it looks like potentially there is like an S shape in there as well, or Team like Starbolt, because it does look a bit like a lightning bolt. I don't know, but they look like they're going to be like kind of hot rods sort of thing. It looks like underneath there are also seats, but I'm assuming there's going to be someone up top who's having kind of the main control of the vehicle up there. So yeah, you can see on both sides there are just some information there, but that looks like they're a Sydney. I could definitely see Team Star or Team Starbolt or Team Lightning Star or something along those lines being the thing, but they've got obviously the flames on here. Obviously you've got your 3 starters here. There is something that's very interesting. It looks like potentially you'll have Pokemon following you. By the fact that you've got the Sprigatito there, you've got also Fuecoco and Quaxley following you, so potentially we've got Pokemon following us again. I wouldn't be surprised, they've already got a lot of the models from Sword and Shield. So they just have to update those slightly and introduce the new ones. Here you've got the multiplayer aspect, so you can get 4 players on.
Learn together.
Okay, so yeah, this was a shot that I want to have a talk about. No? There. So if you look, this is Arden, and he is in a different uniform. He hasn't got the yellow vest and the purple trousers. He's got the orange trousers with the blue vest on now. So it looks like based on whatever you're doing is, based whichever game you have, is which outfit you're going to get with them. So it looks like they're not version exclusives like I thought before. This looks like it's some kind of collection quest for Arden. I wouldn't be surprised because that's kind of what it was sort of hinted at with his character profile. It looks like he's the kind of person that doesn't really battle, but he wants to kind of get medicines for Pokemon. This could be some kind of herb that's going to be really beneficial for something. Again, we've got this giant tower. Now, this is interesting to me, and I've only just thought of this. One, this tower looks a lot more degraded, and there was another tower earlier on that looked very similar. The one that was in the bottom corner, it looked very similar and had something in the middle. So that's what makes me think that there are several of these different towers over the map, and we've just not been showing them. It also looks like there is a lighthouse in the background there as well, so that could be some kind of gym or something. It doesn't look like there's many towns or buildings though. That is something that I have noticed. There doesn't seem to be much, many different kind of places that you'll go. There just seems to be like Pokemon centers every now and again. But yeah, this is something that's interesting to me. I think there's going to be several around, but this could be the same one as before. It could just be a lookout point to see different things. Grow together, so we've got access to a few different mons here. So Sylveon means that we have access to all the EVs. I know a lot of people are hoping for a new evolution, and again, like, we haven't had access to that today, but there could be. Who knows? Sizzle, which I think again is going to be another fantastic one to have as a crystal. Altaria, yep, standard Hatterene. Electros coming back, which is pretty cool, and then you've got Lechonk there. Now, Lechonk evolving would definitely be really cool, and I'd love to see. I can't wait to see that actually. You've got a kind of evolution scene there. Trading an Ice Cube for a Stone Joiner. Call back to the previous generation where I believe... Are they exclusives? No, I don't think they are. I think they're just rare. Sizzle battling a Golduck there. Hydreigon and a Hariyama. Really interesting to see. I would love to see Hydreigon again as a crystallized Pokemon with the electric, because it has Levitate and it would have basically no weaknesses. So I think that's another way that we can kind of do things. It also has access to electric type moves as well. So we get the stab aspect as well as having a high special attack. You can run it with choice specs, or you could even run any variety of attacks there. And you can even change it to any typing, so you get so many different moves like Surf, Flamethrower, probably gets access to Solar Beam. You could just be a pure dragon to get rid of some of your fairy weaknesses. I'm pretty sure it gets access to like Ice Beam and Blizzard and stuff like that. Loads and loads and loads of access to different things.
Find something to treasure.
And here we go. Here we go to the Terra. Should we call it Terra? Terra Gems. So here is the... Well, there's a few different ones here, which we're going to show. So, your first one, you've got is your normal type. So essentially, they just come out with like hats. But you've got your normal type version here. You've got your grass type version, your flying type version, your water type version, and actually, looking at that Dragonite, it looks like it's wearing the fire type one. So it. And what I looked at as well, it was suggested that all 18 types are accessible for all Pokemon. It's just a matter of finding them. So there are so many combinations you could possibly have. There's possibly going to be a way that you're going to be able to change them somehow. I'd imagine them implementing that into the game, maybe after release with a DLC, kind of like how they did with turning it from Dynamax to Gmax. But I reckon that could be something that we could change in the long term. Now, obviously, you've got these Max Terra raids, and you've got Dragonite here, You can catch them, obviously. And what I found really interesting here is that your legendary seems to be reacting to something here. This is something that wasn't... I don't feel like... It doesn't make sense to me. The fact that your legendary kind of seems to be really reacting to something that assumably is in this cave. And you've actually seen this... We've seen this cave before. This, when they introduced the multiplayer aspect, there was 2 people running into that cave. And I think that is the same cave. It looks like the same cave. So whether this is going to be something involved, who knows? But actually using these Pokemon, I think is going to be really interesting because obviously you get access to them so early on. I imagine it's going to be like post doing the treasure hunt or post becoming the champion that you'll actually be able to train them. I can't see you training them from the get-go. It just doesn't make sense giving you a legendary Pokemon 2 minutes into the game. But yeah, like this is something that I found really interesting.
Treasure hunt begin.
Yeah, so you've got this massive treasure hunt thing that's being promoted. Obviously, November 18th, 2022, I predicted that when it was first announced because it's always that point in November whenever the Friday is. This is an interesting game to say the least. Obviously, there's not really anything else in this trailer, so to speak. There's loads and loads and loads of information in here that I just kind of want to talk through and kind of get my own thoughts straight with them because when I first reacted to this, there was so much to analyze. There was just so much going through my head, and I was just like, I don't understand. But now, obviously, we've had a look at more detail now. The Terra Crystals, this is what I'm going to call them, so I can't remember the name for it properly yet. But they are going to be huge in this game, and I think that they are going to be something that's really interesting. But yeah, that's my first kind of analysis of the trailer, kind of my thoughts, talking about different aspects and what I think, and linking in obviously to the character analysis and the Pokemon predicted competitive analysis video as well. Don't actually know what I've named it, I haven't put it out yet. But yeah, this is what it is. I'm really hyped for this game. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be different. I think it's got the foundations for all the Pokemon from Pokemon games in the past, but there is going to be this different aspect to it. And I think it's going to be very similar to Legends in the way that you kind of roam it. But I think there's going to be a lot of other kind of lore aspects in here as well, which I'm really excited to see. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have, please do like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm out of here, so have a good one, and I'll see you soon.